So this is where we're camping tonight. Al's just making himself some mashed potato and a brew, hiding behind the wall there. It's the Vern1 and Solo. And I'll just move out here so you can see roughly where we're at. You got the view down the valley, absolutely stunning there. I'll come round the other way. View up the top end. Really, really nice place to be, this. Some people will recognise it from other videos. Mark Outdoors did a video from here with one of his pals, Lee. Mark was in the Wild Country Panacea 2 and Lee was in the QU Mountain Star. And I think they were pitched in basically the same place that myself and Niall are pitched, just inside here. So it's quite a nice place, to be fair. You've got a little bit of shelter off the top. Get in between these stone pillars. I don't know what this used to be. Maybe somebody out there knows what it was, this particular building. I know it's an old lead smelting works. That's what the place originally was. And if I just come over this way a little bit, look down there, you can see some of the old buildings. As I say, it's a really nice place to set up camp, to be fair. Out the way, nobody can see you really, unless they're on top of you. Yeah, nice place. I'll happily come back here again. It's not that far to walk from the car either to get to here. So, and you can see when the wind picks up a little bit, there's a bit of deflection in the Solo there. Come this way a little bit. See the wind's coming in from the side. The wind's changed direction from when we originally pitched up, because we pitched it end into the wind as you do, but then it just keeps chopping and changing a little bit. But both tents are standing nice in the wind. I've had the anemometer out and it's gusty. It's not a constant wind, and the biggest gust was 52.6 kilometers an hour, so that's touching 30 miles an hour. As I say, that was a gust. It's not sustained. It was maybe like there's another gust just picked up there again. I don't know what that is. Let's have a look. It keeps I don't know if you can see. What's that one there? 20.5 kilometers an hour max. 22.6, 25, 28, 35. So, shoving my hand about with the camera. But yeah, so 35.5 is the biggest of those gusts. But it's there's a constant wind of probably, I don't know, I'm going to say about 10 mile an hour constant, and then it's those gusts every now and again which are coming at, like you say, that one there, 35.5. 52.6 was the biggest one. Lasted for about 5 seconds maybe. So it's not a constant by any stretch of the imagination. But no, they tend to stand in quite nicely. When you're in the tent, you get the little buffet from the wind, but nothing significant. And I've just had a brew. Oh, there's another one picked up. What we got? Yeah, that was only like mid-20s, 28. It's could stand here all day doing this. But yeah, 52.6 up till now. It's supposed to stay windy during the night. The rain is meant to stop overnight. I mean, it's stopped now, and the sun's in the way. You can see over there, quite a nice sky. 49.3. Yeah, that one was 49.3. So that is kilometres an hour though, not miles an hour. So if, you know, some people would be like, oh, 49.3 miles an hour. Yeah, kilometres. So what? That's just less than 30, 20 yards. So now about 28 or something. Yeah, 49. So 31 is it? Okay. There's 1.6 what? I'll just go 0.6 for every 10 ish. That was very, very basic calculation. But yeah, so 31. That's from the mathematician. That is what he is. Okay, so I'll if it picks up again later on, I'll try it again later. But that's where we're at the minute. It's just gushing. Hello everyone. So back again. It's been a while since I did the last video. About 5-6 weeks, I think. For my job, I work mostly in Europe, so I'm there pretty much 3 weeks out of every 6, which kind of impacts on my ability to get out camping and hiking. Since the last video I made, the Fjällräven Classic tickets got released. That's a 110 kilometre hike through northern Sweden. So I'll be doing that in August. It's the 9th of August to start working on that one. So really looking forward to that. So between now and then, I've got like 4 months to get myself in half decent shape, because I've kind of got out of shape the last 6 months since I did the West Highland Weight. To be honest with you, I've been slacking. I've let life get in the way. I'll get this out of the way. So that's on me, but I need to get back out and get the miles in the legs so that come August, I'm not going to struggle. I mean, I'm doing it over 7 days, so it works out at something like just under 10 mile a day. There's a fair bit of elevation. You start at, well, we're camping Karuna for a couple of days before heading to the start, which is unpronounceable place, Nikolautka or something like that. I probably got that totally wrong. And then we'll hike from there for 110 kilometres over 7 days to Abisko, which is just north of the Arctic Circle. So looking forward to that. Plenty of daylight, so you're not going to struggle for daylight, even if it is long days. But day 2 is of that. I think it's at the start of day 2, the end of day 2. We're also thinking about doing Kebnekaise, which is the tallest mountain in Sweden. From the base camp, you already had, I think, about 650 metres, and Kebnekaise is just over 2,000 metres. So essentially from the camp, it's kind of like doing Ben Nevis, or close enough to it. But ultimately, you're that little bit higher when you're at the top. So we'll see. If I don't think I'm in good enough shape, I'll not do it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so this weekend, I'm out with my son. One of the first videos I did was the Nortent Vern1 and Hilleberg Soulo comparison, side by side in the garden. And what we've done this time, we've come out, and I'm in the Vern1, my son is in the Soulo. And it's supposed to be a bit windy tonight. I'm not sure what it's meant to get up to. Decent though. And it's been raining a bit. We managed to get the tent up just before a bit of a squall came in. And it's supposed to stop raining overnight, but the wind's supposed to keep up. I think it was probably windier last night. Anyone that was out camping last night probably got the brunt of Storm Kathleen or whatever they call it. But yeah, here we're in in North Yorkshire. Not too far from Gunnerside Gill, but not on top of Gunnerside Gill. You can probably hear the wind. I've got me a little anemometer, so I measure that a bit later on, see how it's doing. We've pitched the tents side by side, so they're both getting the same conditions. We basically want to see what it's going to be like, how they both handle the wind. side by side to each other. Also, I want to see in the morning what the condensation situation is in both of them, because I don't know if the guy was a troll or I don't know whether he's a solo supplier, or just has a bit of an axe to grind with Nortent or something. But there's a guy's comment. I noticed he's commented on a few of the videos about the Vern1, saying this tent is terrible for condensation, it's dangerous and all this. And he's full of shit, to be honest with you. He's being called out by a couple of people for the comment. He made the same comment on multiple videos. And I mean, I've only been out in it once, and there was next to no condensation to speak of. Now, I know it's largely down to conditions as much as anything else, but the Vern1 is really well ventilated, I think. You've got the vent above the door here. You close the door down, you can open the top part, and this little canopy thing allows you to have that slightly open so you get ventilation there. And there's a vent at each end of the tent with the little cord that you can clip up onto the guy line, and it holds that open. So I don't know, I think the ventilation in this is all right, to be honest with you. I think it's just someone with an axe to grind or someone who just wants to be a troll, to be honest with you. There's been any amount of videos done about the Vern1 now. There was only a couple when I did my first one. One was Park Outdoors, Andrew Park. His videos are cracking videos. And then there's Feldman Dave, does some great videos as well. He's got the Vern1, and I think both of those guys have got the Vern2 as well. Grizzly Gaz has done one. There's a few other ones. Those, to be honest, is the four I'd probably pay any attention. The 3 or 4. Oh, there's another guy whose name escapes us, but I'll put a link in the comments. It's like something Viking or whatever. Really nice guy. I've chatted to him a couple of times on Facebook in the Nortent Owners Group thing. He's had a couple of decent camps in his Vern1. So yeah, there's any amount of videos out there. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones that, to be honest with you, the channels that they're on, just have no time for, because they're just, everything's amazing, or this is the next best thing, or it's the perfect tent, and then 3 months later they get another free tent from somewhere else, and then this one's not the perfect tent anymore. So I can't be arsed with people like that, to be honest with you. I far rather people just told the honest truth. If you're going to give a review, be an honest review, not a paid for one. So yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect tent, let's be fair about it. All tents have their little bad points, their good points. Some are better than others, some are more suited to you than others. But just because there's something in a tent you don't particularly like, does it make it a bad tent? No, it doesn't. Like, for example, this big circular door on the inner of the Vern1. Some people think it's great, you know, and that's the beauty of individual opinions. Me personally, I'd rather have a T-door, like you have in the Solo. That's got a T-door inside. I just think it's a better system, but that's me. And other people really like the big circular door. It's literally whatever puts wind in your sails. But yeah, there's a lot to like about this tent. There's a lot to like about the Solo as well, to be fair. Probably, I mean, the criticism I've seen about the Vern1 is how heavy it is. And yes, compared to some other trekking or backpacking tents, it is a lump. It's a heavy tent. With the ground sheet as well, if you have the added ground sheet, you're at 3 kilograms. Now, for a lot of people, that's too much. I will say that I'm not into ultralight hiking and camping. Never will be. Doesn't interest me in the slightest. I'm not spending another 500 quid to save 10 grams, and I'm not going to go out and not carry the things I want to carry, and I'm not going to miss my luxuries. You know, it's all about enjoying it for me, not trying to go as light as possible. I really don't give two shits about that. I know some people do, and that's their thing, and more power to them. But it's not for me. So if my tent weighs 3 kilograms, it weighs 3 kilograms. Simple as that. If I want to save weight, I'll save it somewhere else. That's just how I think about things. As I say, I know plenty of other people are like, 3 kilograms from a tent. I'm not going to carry 3 kilograms of a tent. It's got to be less than 2. Fine, if that's your thing, not a problem. There's not many true 4-season tents that are sub 2 kilograms, though, in fairness. There's a bunch of 3s. There's the odd 4-season tent, but it's horses for courses. It's whatever works for you in whichever way it works for you. I've also got a Nortent Holland 2 lightweight, which is a 2-man tent. Is it a 4-season tent? Some stuff you read says it is. I personally think it's a good 3. It weighs 1.7, including the ground sheet, 1.4 without, and it's an absolute palace inside. It's massive. And it's also a tunnel tent, which means it's pretty stable in the wind, in fairness. Cracking tent, cracking bit of kit. The downside with that one, in my opinion, well, there's 2. One, because it's the type of tunnel tent it is, the entry is on the end, which I personally prefer side entry tents to end entry tents. I don't think you have to climb over stuff to get in and out, whereas with an end entry tent, you store your gear in the vestibule, you kind of have to. And the other thing is, what was the other thing? Oh, it's long as hell. It's like 3.5 meters long, which is great for room inside and room in the vestibule. It's vast, but it becomes an issue if you're struggling to find a flat pitch somewhere and you've got like sloping ground and uneven ground. It doesn't pitch perfect unless it's on a flat ground. And to find a 3.5 meter plus long flat pitch is a damn sight harder than finding one that's 2.5. So that's the 2 downsides with the Holland. If I was going to get another tunnel tent, I'd probably go for the Hilleberg rather than the Nordisk. Yes, it's kind of double the price, but the reason I go for that, it sounds ridiculous, I suppose, in some respects, but it's stronger material for a start than the Holland. The Holland's been made for like uber lightweight, to be fair. The Hilleberg, which one is it? No, can't remember. Is it then Nallo? It's the one that's got the vent on each end, because there's 2 like similar tents, almost identical. One has the vent on each end, and one doesn't. The one without the vents is only comes in yellow label, which is the weakest of the tents. It's 1,000 Perlon, which is, like I say, the weakest of them. It's probably comparable to the Nordisk Holland in terms of the strength of the material. The other one, I don't know if it's a Nyack or the Nallo. I think it's a Nallo. That one is red label, so it's stronger. It's heavier as well. It's, I think, 2.4 as opposed to 1.7 for the yellow label one. But it has the extra diode points on the vents at each end. And the thing I really like about the Hilleberg one is that it has captive pole sleeves. So if you're putting the poles in from one side, they're into a captive sleeve at the other, and then you connect them both to the bottom of the fly on the same side of the tent that you're on. Whereas the Holland, you've got to clip it in at both sides, means walking around the tent. So that is faster to pitch the Hilleberg. And that's not a massive thing, but it's a convenience thing. But yeah, anyway, so that's just my thoughts on tents and stuff. I am always looking at tents. I've been looking at the Vexel Pioneer 2. It's some places you read it's 2.1 kilograms, some places 2.7. I'm not going to take a risk on it being a 2.7 because it's a lightweight tent, really. It's supposed to be like a lightweight. The design's kind of lightweight. There's a Astagir one, not the Young Chan Durston ripoff. And the Durston ripoff is a Top 10 Stratospire 2 ripoff. And all them other ones are all the variation on a theme. It's Astagir Crescent 2. I think you can only get it on AliExpress, and it's about 130 quid or something. It's basically the same design as the Vern 1, but without the centre pole. And that comes in at 2.1 kilograms. It's a 3-season, whereas the Vern1 is a genuine 4-season tent. So I'm thinking about that one because I know how easy it is to put up. It's exoskeleton tent as well, because the OEX Raccoon is the same design as this Crescent 2, which is the same as this, but without the centre pole as well. And that OEX Raccoon is, honestly, for a 2-pole tent, because of the way it's made, it's absolutely rock solid in wind. I've used one before and I was really impressed. The only problem I have with the Raccoon 2 is the fact that it's inner pitch first. And in the UK weather conditions, I think that is a big mistake. I personally won't entertain a tent that is inner pitch first. I've had them before and I've been soaked as a result of it. So for me, that's not a thing. I'd rather have inner and outer together, or outer first. Keep your stuff dry. So that was the big downside of the Raccoon 2, because that was only like, I think I paid 90 quid for it to go outdoors. And again, it's similar sort of weight to the Vern1. It was 2.8 kilograms, I think. But it's polyester. It's a heavier material tent. If that was made out of sil nylon, which the Crescent 2 by Altberg is made out of sil nylon, I think it's 20D, and that comes in at 2.1, so it's like fully 700 grams lighter than the Raccoon. Is it as solid as a Raccoon? Well, this is the thing, because with it being an exoskeleton tent, I wonder whether the tents where the fly sheet fully encompasses the poles, whether it's stronger and more stable as a result of that than if the poles on the outside. I'm curious about that. I'm not an engineer, so that's beyond my gift to decide whether that is the case. I can only go by own personal experience, and I don't have enough of that with this style of tent to be able to make an informed decision or informed opinion on it. However, back to this. So I'm going to measure the speed in a little bit. The wind sort of keeps coming and going. It's at times it gets enough to sort of like wobble you on your feet, and then it just dies like it has now, and there's pretty much nothing. So it's a bit of to and fro. I'm hoping it picks up later on and gets a bit salty for a while, in a sort of sustained way, so I can measure the speed and see what it's like in here, and then I'll do a video into the Solo as well, where my son's staying, to see what it's like inside there, so you can compare the two. But I need a sort of sustained wind for that, because if it's just gusting, the gusts are going to be different. This is as close as I can get to a side-by-side test in the same conditions, you know, as much as I can. But it's not going to be perfect. It's not scientifically controlled. So see, there's the wind's picked up again. I don't know what it... When it does pick up, it's probably only getting to like gusts of maybe 25. Like, people overestimate the wind, like, all the time. You see people going, 40 mile an hour winds, and it's like, turn it in, mate. It's about 15 or 20, man. People haven't got a clue off the time with the wind. I mean, this might only be like 20, 17, 18, something like that. It's hard to tell with wind, but like I say, the amount of people that post videos, you know, almost died, 40 mile an hour winds. Knock it off. Behave yourself. You didn't nearly die, and it's not 40 mile an hour winds, you know. But yeah, so I brought the anemometer. I'll give it a measure so I can give you a more accurate reading. Is this 100% accurate? Probably not. They're not an expensive bit of kit, so they're probably not bang on, but at least it's more verifiable than someone going, 40 mile an hour winds. Nuggets. Anywho, I'm going to get a brew on, and then I'll see what the wind's like in a little bit, and get back to you. But this is inside my tent, and there's my son's. So we're all settled down for the night. We had to move the Solo. It was sort of sideways on, the wind changed a little bit, so we had to turn it, which is easy enough done, being a freestander. We put the foot end more into the wind, and that's a lot more sturdy now than it looked earlier. The Vern is solid, to be fair. As I say, the wind's coming in gusts. It's not constant. It's just every now and then. As you can tell at the minute, there's nothing. and then you'll just get a blast and then nothing, and a blast and nothing. And that's just the way it's been since we pitched up about 5 hours ago. So I was kind of hoping for a bit more wind, just to give them a real test, but it's just not really. I think we should have been out last night, I think, to be fair. It seems from what I've seen from other people that there was a lot more wind about last night. But it is what it is. We couldn't get out last night, so yeah. But yeah, when we have had the big gusts of wind, the Vern hasn't really moved much. There's a little bit of end pressing in, and it's worth mentioning there was a little bit more wind deflection from the end than there is on the Solo. Not significant though. Not. It's not like this is bowing in a lot and that's not moving at all. It's the Soulo moves a bit. This moves a little bit more, but again, nothing to write home about. I've been looking about at other tents. I know Grizzly Gaz on his channel. He's recently used Big Sky International Chinook 2, which is a 3-pole tent, similar kind of design to the Vern1, although the centre pole isn't centre, it's more one end, and it's pre-bent, like 2 shoulders it's got at the top. It looks sturdy enough, and it's 1.7 kilograms, I want to say, 1.6, 1.7, something like that. I don't know if that includes a footprint or not. I'd have to ask guys. But it's a big chunk of money as well. That's like 750 quid or something of that kind of ilk. Do I want to spend that kind of money on another tent? That's the question. Yeah. I know the Van Gogh's brought out a Nexus, which is basically Van Gogh's version of the helm too. It's apart from having like the exterior clips, it doesn't have them at the ends of the poles. It's literally sleeved all the way. And it's pre-bent sections of the poles on the end, so you've got a more vertical wall and blah, blah, blah. But I think Van Gogh's screwed the pooch with that one, because what they've done is they've made it such a size and the inner such a size that your vestibule is 30 centimetres. That's pointless vestibule. It's like my foot is 30 centimetres long. That's all you've got. It was the same as when Terra Nova brought out the laser competition AS, is it? It's got knee vestibule, like, and I don't know, some tent manufacturers seem to talk as though they've been really innovative by saying, oh, well, you can just unclip the inner and bring that back, and then you've got, what? Why? Like, for what reason? The first tent I saw where you had to do that was the Soto Light Trek 2, and it's a tunnel tent, and it's a strong tunnel tent. I mean, to be fair, its wind test is quite strong. Again, about 2.3 kilograms, I think. It's not the lightest. And it is roomy inside, but you've got no real vestibule, especially for a tunnel tent. And so you've got to pin back the interior to give yourself a vestibule to cook in or whatever. And then you pin it back again as far out as it will go to your inner space. And I just think, what a bloody hassle. Like, to me, that's tent manufacturers have ballsed it up, and then they're just like, oh, well, if you just do this, you've got your vestibule. I will make that a selling point. It's not a selling point. Not by a long chalk. It's poor design, in my opinion. And tent manufacturers can get arses they want about it, but it's my opinion. I just think it's rubbish. Something worth mentioning, actually, while I'm on it, I didn't have the issue with the crossing pole that I had previously, where the pole went out the end of the drainage hole. It was on this side. That didn't happen this time. So I made a point of coming to the outside of the cup on that side before then putting it in on this side. So it wasn't an issue at all. I think as long as you're putting the poles in and you're deliberate about how you put them in, it's not really an issue. It was like I say, when I made that video, it was just really for just to let people know that it can happen and that you haven't bust the tent if it does happen. But it's the wind, a bit disappointing. It's not as strong as I was hoping it was going to be, so we'll give them a real test. The rain stopped a few hours ago. It doesn't look like it's going to start again, so not quite the side-by-side test I was really hoping for, but typical British weather, unpredicted. If you don't like the weather, hang about for 30 minutes. Might change. So I might do another little bit in the morning when I wake up, see what the conditions is like then. But I'm off to sleep now. So let's see what the night brings. Morning all. Well, it's about 6 in the morning. Slept through. Woke up a couple of times, but nothing, not disturbed by anything. The wind died away basically to nothing, so much for me to be big test of the two. Not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it didn't rain at all during the night, and like I say, the wind disappeared. So I've had me porridge, just having a brew. The sun is going to be coming up very soon. It's not far off. I never seem to get the sunrises. It's there's a YouTube channel it's worth checking out actually. Solo Sarah B, Yorkshire lass, and she gets out in the peaks a lot. And she did a video a couple of months ago where she's talking about how she always seems to be in the right place at the right time. Well, I must be the yin to her yang, because I'm never in the right place at the right time. If there's a big, nice sunset somewhere, it's where I was last week or where I'm going to be next week. Never seem to get them. Sunrises and sunset. But it is what. So yeah, so just having a brew and I'll start packing up. One thing that did wake us up during the night, about 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. My Thermarest neoair xlite that I've had for about 3 years now, it started going down. Now, I've got a couple of mats. I've got this one. I've got the Big Agnes Rapid SL long wide, and I've got an OEX. What is it? Flux 5.0. The Flux is a little bit too short, but it's all right in summer. It's quite not a bad mat, to be honest with you. For the price as well, especially. It's only like, I think I paid about 45, 50 quid for it and go outdoors. This is the most expensive of the mats I've had. It's the same I bought it 3 years ago. It was about 200 quid up there. And as I say, it started going down during the night. I did notice it getting softer last time I used it up in Northumberland, but this is going down more. Like, and it's a shame because this is the warmest of the pads I've got. I think it's rated like 4.9 or something. And it is genuinely warm back, to be fair. The Big Agnes, that's rated 4 point something. I can't remember off the top of my head. And to be honest, that it's a bit fantasy land, that, like, it's nowhere near as warm as this one. The R rating only being a couple of decimal points lower. It's not even close, like. So the Big Agnes is a good one for comfort, because I think it's like 10 centimeters on 9.5 centimeters thick, so it's thicker than this. And this is the mummy shaped one, whereas the Big Agnes is the square one. And so you do feel like you've got more room on it, if you like. So it is a nice, wide, comfy pad, but it's not as warm as it, not by a margin. It's probably not as warm as the OEX. I'm totally honest. The OEX is like 4. I can't remember, but it's not meant to be as high. And the Big Agnes was like 170 quid. So if you're after a pad with a lot of comfort,
the big Agnes is really comfortable, but it's not as warm as this. So I may have to invest in another older one. I'll have a look because the R ratings are getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. Like 3 years ago when this came out, it was one of the better ones, unless you were going to pay like crazy money. But if it's going down, it's no use. Anyone, no use to man, no beast. So might be time to invest in another one of them. We shall see. I might make do with the others for now. There's other things I want to get. But yeah, so that was the only sort of downside of the camp. There it is. There's the Solo. Is that there? Another breath of wind. The grouse or moor hens or whatever they are. They're in fine voice this morning. Sounding like Space Invaders. But yeah, I didn't get the test I wanted, but it's been a nice camp. To say very still during the night. In terms of condensation, I mentioned earlier about condensation in the tent. Someone saying it's potentially dangerous. I don't know if you can see, but yes, there is condensation, but it's not horrendous. Like I've had worse than that before in other things. You're always going to get some, and especially when the wind's died down. There's no wind coming through, circulating. You're going to get a bit more. And I did have this door fully closed last night because as I was heading off to sleep, the wind was really bad. And I've got the two end vents on the outer open, like flipped up. So it has got some ventilation, but then it has got some condensation. And I'll check with Niall in a minute. His alarm went off a few minutes ago. See what it's like in there, but I'll wager it's probably about the same in there, to be fair. Because when I was camped in Northumberland in the Solo, it was the same sort of script. This kind of level of condensation was in there as well, so you're never going to get none. Like, no, it's a couple of times I've had none, but it's weather conditions more than anything else. But no, this isn't as bad as that troll was making out on the video before. So yeah, I can hear him stirring. So I'm going to have me brew. This is brew one. I always have two brews. This is brew one, and get out and stretch my legs, chill for a bit, have a look around, and then start packing up, ready to head back home. Right, so that's us all packed up, ready to head back down the hill. Tiny little camp. They say there wasn't the wind test that I wanted it to be, but you can't have everything. So you can see there, as usual, leave no trace. I'll just put in his bag right, and that's us. So the camp done. Might see if I can get out next weekend, and possibly got the following weekend as well. So we'll see what's what. There was Niall wiped down the inside of the Solo, and it was the same sort of level of condensation in there as there was in mine, to be fair. Maybe slightly less, but it wasn't excessive by any means. So yes, that was the camp that was. And the sky's a bit clearer this morning. It's still grey, but then it's north. It's always grey in the north. There's the view back down the valley. Some of you'll know where this is. Some of you won't. It's a nice little place, easy to get to. I mean, you kind of, I don't know if you can really see, but the car is parked right about there. Over there. Just over the top of that. Pretty about a mile's walk. But not a great hiking. I felt it fine. Right. Piled the timber on over Christmas and working to get it back off. Need to get match fit. Aye, 110 kilometres in Sweden is not going to be a walk in the parks. There's plenty of elevation, but I've got 4 months. I'll do it in 4 months, not a problem. Got about
20 kilos in the first two, and then start really hammering it, do a lot of rucking. That's for those who don't know, is backpacking with weight. I've got a backpack there, I've got about 15 kilos in. I don't plan on carrying 15 kilos, but if I get used to that, then probably about 12 my pack will be, I think, in which case it'll feel a lot easier than the 15 that I've been lumping about. That's a plan. I did that for the West Island Way and it worked, so we'll do it again. Right, catch you later.